Welcome to the first video in the Introduction to Qt Quick course. Throughout each section, we will cover some basic principles of using QML and Qt Quick to build a simple guitar FX pedal. Before getting started, we recommend using the Qt and Qt Creator versions referenced in the course. Otherwise, some things may be slightly different. Okay, with Qt Creator open on the welcome screen, we will create our new project. On the left-hand side of the screen, click the Create Project button to open the Project Creation wizard. Select Qt Quick Application and hit Choose. The Qt Quick Application template sets up a basic Hello World window for us to build upon. Now it's time to name our project. I will call mine Guitar Pedal. Then we need to choose a location. For ease, I will save the project in my Max User folder. Hit Continue. We will not change any project details, so we can move on. Now we need to select a kit. Kits in Qt Creator define the build and run settings for your project. As I am using a Mac, I will use the Qt 6.6.1 kit for Mac OS. Pick the Qt kit that corresponds to your Qt version and operating system. With the kit selected, press Continue. On the summary page, you can set up your version control. However, we won't be covering this today. If you are happy, click Done. Great. We have our project set up. Let's take a quick look at the project structure. You'll find the project pane on the left with the created files. Key files include the Main.qml file for our UI, C++ source files, and the CMake-build file. For now, let's stay in Main.qml. So, what's happening here? We have import statements at the top of the file to import Qt Quick and Qt Quick.window. In Qt 6, window is included as a Qt Quick type, so we can remove this line. But what is a window? The window component in Qt Quick provides a top-level container for our app, with title bar, borders, and the common close, minimize, and maximize controls. Inside the window component, several of its properties are set: width, height, visible, and title. Width and height set the starting size of the app. Visible allows us to see the app when it is launched. The title is displayed in the window decoration and, depending on the operating system, also within the app switching functionality of the OS. Let's modify these properties to create the basis of our app. Instead of using the width and height properties, we will use minimum and maximum width and height. This means our app will be a fixed size. You might wonder why we're opting for a fixed size window. In a guitar pedal application, the interface elements like knobs and switches should remain consistently sized and spaced, as we are recreating a design from the real world with fixed size assets. Doing so also removes some complexity in introducing you to concepts we will cover. We will specify a minimum width and height, corresponding to the background image we will use later, and then set the maximum width and height to the minimum, creating a fixed size window. To brand our app window more appropriately, we will also update the title to Guitar Pedal. This will also more clearly reflect the window's functionality. In order to set ourselves up for the next steps, we need to import the assets provided from the project files repo mentioned above. Navigate to the 00 Assets folder in your File Explorer, and you will see two folders, Fonts and Assets. We need to move or copy these two folders into the root directory of our project. The root directory is the main folder where your main.qml file lives. Now in Qt Creator, right-click on the application name in the project's pane. Select Add Existing Directory. Select the Assets and Fonts folders within your project directory. This action tells Qt Creator to recognize these folders as part of your project. Why is this step necessary? We added the assets and fonts to the directory already. Doing this step in Qt Creator adds a reference to the resources in the CMake-build file, including them in our application, and makes them visible within the Qt Creator project pane. To recap, we've transformed our Main.qml file from a basic template to a more specific setup with a fixed size appropriate for our assets and application goals. We also added a more appropriate title for the window. Finally, we moved the resources to the project root directory and then imported them into the project from the project pane, making them accessible in Qt Creator and included in the built application. In the upcoming videos, we will dive into how to use the resources within our app and build visual and functional elements.